5 seconds remaining.
Though,
Radiant
because of the coordination
team
of your teams. I can't imagine Dawnbreaker can be half as useful in pubs when your team is headless chicken.
Yes and no. I mean, also, she's got a skill shot that is dodgeable, so that makes it more effective in pubs and less effective in competitive play.
Yeah, but she has a
Radiant
global
team
presence,
ban.
which is one of the most tactful things you can have in a hero.
Yes, much
Yeah.
like MP, where like his win rate in pubs keeps going down, but in competitive they'll still pick him. They'll still use him as a 5 sometimes.
I don't know. Dawnbreaker, I pick the hero even though I don't necessarily think it's the best
10
as support all the
seconds
time,
remaining.
and that is the biggest reason is because I could sit in the safe lane
5 seconds
after the tier 1
remaining.
tower gets taken and just farm there
Dire team ban.
and just ping my ultimate.
Radiant team
Look
Ready.
at that! Look at that! Dawnbreaker ban!
Oh, Execration respecting that. They let the Mars through though, so if they don't pick the Mars here, they've done this many times where they let the Mars through and they pick the Centaur, and then every team immediately picks the Mars, and now they're countered, and you're like, oh, okay, that was nice.
Yeah, there's
10 seconds
definitely
remaining.
some stuff in the pool for them. I think. What have we seen? Execration enjoy a little
5
bit of
seconds
Grimstroke.
remaining.
That's also something that works nicely with Ember. They should try and get it.
Picked OD last time when Bane and Weaver were banned.
Yeah. There's so much to pick actually. I don't know if this sees Topanga, but that hero's been like really nice in the first phase recently. They have OD, like you said, Razors in the pool, Spirit Breaker as well. I don't
They
know.
first picked Monkey King at some point in time, which makes me hope they played it as carry, but it makes me hope that they can play it as 4 position.
Oh, they can.
Because
I
like
mean,
otherwise you're overall first picking your carry. That sounds sus as hell.
Yes. But when you have 2 old players, 1 semi-old player, you know, the 2 supports are somewhat veterans. Then you usually have a pretty wide hero pool. I mean, usually.
Dire
Also, I don't know
team
why you were
pick.
sus. They beat OB Neon with their Centaur. Like, it's pretty good.
I mean,
They won that series.
I think they're much better heroes than.
Well, you're bad. And they're playing professionally, and you're on this couch with me.
Dire
That's
team
true.
What a
pick.
sad fate.
I don't know why
I wouldn't be here for long though. Oh damn! A throwback. The play hard Rubik.
Yep.
Wow, that's like his hero.
Okay, and we love
Twice
it.
as many
Radiant
hero,
team back.
twice as many as his second most
Enchantress.
played.
And great counter to OD, but here we get the Enchantress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been
Rubik
saying this, right?
works.
That like Rubik has a lot of the meta heroes. Rubik's very
Dire
good again.
team ban.
Particularly the OD. We're starting to see him a lot more against the OD in other regions as well, and to great success. Enchantress though does destroy him in lane.
I was about to say, yeah, Rubik is a hero that gets bullied very hard. We've saw Nature's Prophet get picked against Rubik in a previous series.
10
He
seconds
deals very nicely with her.
remaining.
He is not able to fight back against.
5 seconds
It is
remaining.
just something he just can't. There may be like a lane here. I'm guessing they might put Spirit Breaker off lane with this, or it could be.
Radiant team ban.
I mean, you can put Rubik. He plays in both lanes. I like Liquid playing Rubik safe lane 5 a lot. If it works for your team, if it works what you want to do,
Spirit Breaker,
it's nice.
I guess he can tank the Enchantress a bit.
Kinda. I don't know what they want to do with it. I guess it's open, but
10 seconds remaining.
I feel like if you Enchantress versus Rubik and Spirit Breaker, you kind of
5
just lay this
seconds
free.
remaining.
And even
Oh,
get
wow.
rid of that bulldoze.
I would still like Monkey King with OD. I think
Dire
imprisonment sets
team
up pretty
ban.
nicely for you to be able to get off Wukong's command.
Yep.
And Bound the Strike follow up as well. Pretty nice. And they still have their 4 position open. I think for Monkey King works nice with 3 OD.
Radiant team ban.
Okay. So you have the option of flexing it though. Right?
Yeah. Still have the option.
I like OD offlane a lot with a carry that can frontline with the Monkey King as
Yeah.
one of those. Luna another one, right? Just something that doesn't require OD to jump in solo.
love OD so much now. Every game I see him, he
10
looks
seconds
so
remaining.
broken that every time this opening draft starts, I'm like, well, I really
5
like Spirit
seconds
Breaker. And
remaining.
Rubik counters OD, but they have OD. Like, it's so hard to deal with. He's gonna take your tower so early most of the time. I'm really not sure what safe lane combination stops OD from.
Tell early. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean they could put Spirit Breaker on 5, and then he's able to like, cancel the Meteor Hammer if he
Yeah.
just stays out the side.
I honestly don't think that any carry stops him. I think it's entirely on the 5 position. So if you have a
What
5
5?
position that can stop him from being able to cast Meteor Hammer and also clear out the
Dire
creep
team
wave,
ban.
then you
Dire
can
team
stall him out
pick.
for a really long time. But I feel like almost every
Radiant
carry
team
just
pick.
is like, nope, I don't want to be here.
Storm Spirit.
What 5 is that?
Well, they don't have a 5 position open really, unless they want to run 3 Spear Breaker or 2. Spear Breaker. Jakiro does that.
Oh, I like that actually. We've seen a lot of Jakiro to
10
counter OD
seconds
as well.
remaining.
Have we seen Kiro?
Well, not sorry. I say we. I have seen.
Okay.
When I was
5
doing Div
seconds
2 Europe,
remaining.
for example, Chicken
Radiant
Fighters was
team
actually
pick.
experimenting a lot with Rubik Jakiro as a counter to OD, and they've had a lot of success with it. Also, Pexu is a godlike Jakiro.
Oh, well, they're making Rubik's game better. I'm gonna have to shield crash at the start of every ult, or else that is a fight for them to take.
10 seconds remaining.
Is that?
He does have more options now because he can also use his
5
shard ability
seconds remaining.
at certain periods of time. And stealing that obviously is. Okay, so the Pango's now going to be the 4 position front for the OD. Another really nice space.
Unless it's OD mid.
Or
Yep.
even
I don't think it's mid.
Not against Storm Spirit.
No.
I knew you were going to say that, but I actually saw the strategy by Lava recently,
Oh no.
where they played Pango against Storm, particularly, with the idea that like your supports will. I mean, this time we only have enchanters, but your supports will rotate, right? And it worked out surprisingly well because if Pango hits 6 slightly before the Storm, you kill him quickly, and the tower is threatened by you pretty hard with the Oracle.
10 seconds remaining.
Just want to point that out
How do you get 6 before Storm?
because
5
you are
seconds
better than the enemy
remaining.
that's what Leo's about.
Because like Storm
Look,
dominates you in
Radiant
the
team
close
back.
melee matchup, so I
Yep.
feel like Storm should be ahead in CS.
Just be better, and then you'll win.
All right, that's fair
Let's
enough.
be better.
Yeah.
That is a really solid strat. Thank you, Avo.
You know what's also really solid? This Bloodseeker pick.
Yeah. Well, so's this Batrider pick. It is confusing me though. I was kind of like sorting around in my head where
10
they wanted to go with their
seconds
lanes,
remaining.
but now I'm like, okay, I think you're right. Pango is 4 with OD and Bat's going mid.
5
Yep.
seconds
Unless they're putting
remaining.
Batrider in the off lane and Pango's the
No.
4.
Please no. Bad Rider is not an offlaner, Sheepo.
The ghost of Ghost Stick is here.
Okay, I'm down to stick
Dire
with
team
Spear Breaker
back.
Core at this point in time and get myself a Dispelling 5. But that's probably not going to happen. It's probably 3 Bloodseeker, 4 Rubik, and then
What the spelling 5 would you have? 'Cause
Oracle.
Oracle's dead. You pick Oracle?
Oracle's fine. He's been picked up
Batten?
a bunch.
Bunch?
10
A bunch,
seconds
yeah. Well,
remaining.
I say a bunch. I mean, at least one.
seconds
Okay,
remaining.
fair.
At least.
I like the Abaddon better, personally.
I'm okay with Oracle because you have
Radiant team
3
ban.
heroes that go in. So if you like charge up your whatever it's called, Q.
Fortune's End.
Thank you, Fortune's End. Who plays support, man? Not me. I don't know spell names. If you charge up Fortune's End on Spirit Breaker Storm, they can both go in with it. It's like okay.
10
Abaddon
seconds
obviously a little bit more
remaining.
passive. I like what Cap said about him in the past though, as a body.
5
Why did they
seconds
ban Medusa?
remaining.
They're thinking that Spellbreaker 5, Bloodseeker 3.
No.
Oh, because OD.
They've got OD, they've got Pango, they've got Batrider. Why did they ban Medusa? I'm mad.
Dire team ban.
I'm actually mad that they did that. Pango disarms, is just really good team fight
Radiant
against you.
team
OD steals a ton of mana away from you. And Batrider is one of those, like, I don't run out of damage heroes, you know? You get on top of the Medusa and she's like, oh shit, that sucks, I'm going to burn to death.
Maybe it's because they feel like they just don't want a hero like Medusa that is
seconds
so
remaining.
tanky that they don't want to initiate on with Batrider.
They don't want to deal with any hard
5
carry.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because they got rid of the Terrorblade as well, which is not
Dire
the best
team
in this
pick.
matchup either.
Yeah,
Praise King.
Yeah, I don't
maybe.
That's what I feel like all the time.
Been too long sitting on your
What
butt.
was that, Hubba?
It was an aneurysm I was having on this panel, I'm sorry. It's gone, it's good.
Okay.
I'm glad the aneurysm passed quickly.
10 seconds
So,
remaining.
I don't know. Wraith King is
5
a
seconds
nice hero.
remaining.
He's gonna like not care about getting ruptured by Bloodseeker just because it's second life.
He wasn't your target to begin with, but okay.
He wasn't, but like if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, like giving you more problems is a thing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Bloodseeker's like, okay, I rupture Pango, life is good, but now it's
Bat
like,
Rider.
well, I want to rupture Bat Rider, but I also want to rupture your offlaner, your carry. Like, they just have so many things. It makes the Bloodseeker pick worse.
To me, this rating pick seems like they're sticking to their guns that Bloodseeker's offlane. Because if he's offlane, you go for the Axe build. The double rupture, it's like, okay, Pango, but he's a 4, not that big a deal. Bat Rider, maybe OD, right? Not that great. He's carry, though. Fog, give me this lecture about how wonderful the shard is, and I'm with him on this. Wraith King somewhat stands his ground against Bloodseeker, but not that great. You can actually easily kite him with your Thirst. You can easily kill people around him. He is kind of a terror in team fight sometimes, but you can't.
Choose your hero.
I actually like TNC's draft better.
I like the Razor for sure.
Razor's great.
I like the Razor for the fact that I just said that it annoys me that the Bloodseeker's in this position where he can only like stop one core. Razor helps stop another core.
That's true. Yeah,
That's-
that's Wraith King done.
Well, yeah.
Show me that's his target.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, Razor's really good against Wraith King because not only are you just like, oh, that's a melee hero, I'm going to be able to kite and steal his damage, but also because you don't run out of damage, right? Your Eye of the Storm, especially the double Eye of the Storm, it's going to stay on, right? Your TVs, Monkey Kings, like these are heroes that represent like, I pop a certain thing and I'm not running out of damage for another 30 seconds. So I like that choice quite a bit. I think that was pretty good.
I will
5
say,
seconds
I feel like
remaining.
Bat Rider can do a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah.
He can take over the game
If-
pretty
if,
hard.
If he can win that mid lane matchup, get a kill against Storm Spirit before he's level 6, get that fast boots of travel, then he can really go off in this game. So watch for that mid lane matchup between Bob and Yahweh.
They also have OD. So can you say Execration?
Okay, Cap.
TNC, let's go. First win, baby.
All right. Yeah, let's go. TNC. First win. Will they be able to do it? We're going to have to see. I like their draft. Will we like their playstyle? I'm not sure. But we'll like the cast because we have a wonderful duo here. It's hopefully MLP Dota and John X Fire.
Wow. We almost got forgotten about there, Jonathan, but it is MLP Dota, John X Fire. Thank you very much, Mr. Avo Plus? Mr. Avo Plus. There we go. Thank you very much, Mr. Avo Plus. John, they did mention TNC, they haven't picked up. Right? No wins right now for TNC. Is this the game? Is this the draft? Is this what they need?
I think so. I think TNC, again, the last time they faced against Execration was in the Veneski Masters. They managed to do that 2-1. So I think Execration is a team that they sort of understand, they sort of read well, and they sort of know how to play against. So we'll see if they bring that pressure out. I do think that Execration does have ways of working it really well. Like the matchup for Bob is going to be great. We've seen Bob pop off on his Bat Rider against these Spirit Brothers every single time. I think they should be able to manage that just fine. Shut down Yoe, as we've talked to TNC a couple of times, right? They say Yoe is really the key on mid. A lot of teams seem to think that as well. So if you keep his mid in check, prevent him from getting his early items, say the Orchid or Kaya on the Storm that we tend to see, it's going to throw off their timings, because Young God might want to run around early on as a Razor along with Xiao Yu, but you won't have that jump in from your Storm. And outside of the Spirit Breaker charging in, he is like an early level, like support. So it's going to be harder for him to line up, and we've got that beautiful view again from our producer, Mr. Pitian. Lovely as always, scouting around.
Yeah, but,
it's going to be an
for
issue if you
Pitian,
fall
John.
behind there.
You wouldn't shut up there for a second. The poor man was trying to give you a space so he could show off his little statue there. You wouldn't give him a chance. Thank you, Pythian. I apologize for John's never-ending point that he's trying to make. John, what was the point? Can we get a TLDR?
If Yoe loses his lane, it's really hard for TNC. Like, they're going to rely more on Yoe to jump in. I think everyone
30
realizes for
seconds
TNC
to
that
go.
Yoe is the target to go for. Every team we've interviewed says that, so I think Bob is set up to kind of keep that in check here.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. I apologize for the rudeness. I didn't mean to interrupt. Just appreciate art when I see it. Speaking of art, that is a very nice stick in mid lane. What is that? That's the that's from Naruto, right? That's the look. The you wouldn't know, but the headband.
I would know. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I think that is
The battle
Jack, right?
begins.
That's Jack, all costumed up.
Yeah.
Looking good. Beautiful
I hope
sticker.
it's Jack. Yeah.
I know what you're missing, though. You're missing the boom stickers, aren't you, Mike? The furry.
I am.
I know you like them. You love them. You can't get enough of them.
That's what you're gonna do. I've already had a rough morning, Jonathan, and now you're gonna bring this up again, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Someone
Never ends
actually
well.
tagged me in a tweet today, John, saying I apologize, but I finally figured out what your name stands for, what the MLP stands for. So there you go. If you wanted to know, just go on Twitter or Facebook, look up MLP Dota. You'll see it's nothing to do with ponies, all right? It's nothing to do with ponies. And that's why I was so happy. I was so happy, John, that we had Mr. Avo come in as a host, because now there's two people that have no idea how to pick a good name, right? He went with the avocado side of things, and I went with the pony side of things.
Oh, you guys are all sorts of wrong. Still, what's not wrong are the lanes breaking out. Some early aggression already coming through up top. We've got Kimizu on that OD along with Carlo on his Pango, up against Young God and Febby on that Spirit Breaker and Razor. And this is a lane that I think early on TNC can play really aggressive with. They do have the Plasma Field instead of Static Link. I guess your Link target in Carlo is a bit hard to really hammer in, especially since he can fight back with a Shield Crash. It does take a bit longer for the Spirit Breaker to hit the spike here, Mike, but you've got the bash up, you don't have charge, so you only really can poke and prod, but Carlo and Kimizu can kind of punish that, so it's maybe a bit more passive for TNC, but once they hit level 2, maybe level 3, they can look to kind of put some pressure here.
That they certainly can, and you're already seeing Young God trying to static link up this OD, but bot lane is, well, now we're looking back at top lane. Yeah, Young God, he was static linking up this OD. And with it just fine though, Kimizu able to walk away in time, and, well, we do have a quick pause out. I did want a pause to happen, Jonathan, because we haven't talked about this yet. You recently got accepted to the Twitch Partner Program. Congratulations.
Yes.
Very, very good to see, John. How does it feel to finally be a partner and have the tick next to your name?
It feels great. I forgot to turn it on one time when he jumped into chat, so I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. It's nice, you know, it's nice. I'm finally joining the ranks of you, Mike. You've been showing off your tick for a while. And I'm finally there. I'm happy to finally be recognized in some random internet spot. You know? It's not much, but I'll take what I can get, Mike.
I mean, take it as a positive, John. I didn't even get accepted. I got denied 3 times, and eventually, because we were doing SCA lower division last year, I guess they couldn't decline me anymore. So there you go, John. I didn't even earn it. I just got it for free.
It's the name, Mike. You throw a lot of people off. Yeah, you gotta admit, I don't think it helped right there. I think Twitch took a look and was like, we don't really trust this guy with his name. We don't know what he does. Could be pretty suspect here.
Might also have something to do with the DMCA that happened years ago, John. Well, we won't go into that one today, though, as bot lane play hard dropping very, very low. Nando and Vincenzo just warding Zhao Yuan as he was trying to get onto Nando. This laning, Zhao Yu's having a great old time so far in this Bloodseeker, and it does feel like all the lanes right now for TNC are going very well.
Yeah, they're managing to get a little bit more farm, hold out in the pressure. Even the mid lane coming out here for Yoa is going a lot better up against Bob. He's still keeping up in CS. He's not really harassed out. Bob does have his level 3 lined up. He can go for the Flamebake or Firefly, but he's not really finding the opportunity to pressure that Storm, and they haven't blocked off the camp as well. So Yoa can just dip into the small camp when lane shoved out, keep farming up, keep, you know, building up into those initial item spikes down the line, rush to level 6. And if Yoa is kept unchecked, if he does hit 6, it's going to be really hard to pin him down. That's the one worry I have here for Execration, because that level 6 timing between these two mids is so pivotal to set that pace.
Yeah, no, certainly so. Right now, 0 kills from map though. Both teams being quite conservative. The top lane, Febby gonna try and get aggressive. Does get a double bash going. Carlo gonna continue the chase with the swashbuckle out. Febby falling low. Astral's gonna be there, but the arcane orb did not connect. Slightly early there from Kimizu with the Astral out, and that does actually save Febby's life.
Playing on edge, you do have that little spike here for TNC, but the same thing goes for the side of Execration as well. They've got the 1-1-1 on Kimizu, so full skills is there. He can spam out his Arcane Orb as well. And Carlo at level 2 can poke and prod a lot better with a Swash. And Febby can try charging, but the follow-up isn't the best. Like, I think ideally you'd have Young God already static linking a target. And like, up against these two, again, you can break the static link with Swashbuckle, you can just kind of Astral and walk away. So there's no real easy way for Young God to just start and then have the charge come in. It feels like they have to start with either a bash or a charge from Febby, and again, for him to just right-click down one of these heroes, it's not something you want to do. It's just not safe for a Spirit Breaker to trade hits with those two heroes.
Certainly not. Febby, he's still alive though. Hasn't died quite yet, so, you know, as long as he lives, doesn't feed too many kills away. Happy days for TNC. If I go to that mid lane, I think a concerning sign is going to be the fact that Bob is starting to overtake the mid lane, and he did just high-five that tier 1 tower. John, you can do that now, even though we haven't got the new tower there, so it looked kind of stupid, but you know, you can do that. As bot lane, we are maybe going to have first blood flying out. You did have a very low Vincenzo, but now Zhao Yu's in trouble. The Hadouken gets it done as mid lane. They even found Yoe, and well, naturally, Bob, he has to throw the tip out. In fact, he might have another.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, Firefly's over. He might continue chasing if he can de-aggro this tower, but no. He'll leave Febby be, not having faith that he can get the damage up.
And that's the level 6 fight we were talking about, Mike. Level 6 comes faster for Bob. He gets the kill. He doesn't even have to use lasso yet. He just has enough coming to the sticky napalm. And you run down the storm. So you manage to get that edge now here for Bob, saving up for those travels. Still a long ways off. And eventually Yoa will get his 6 anyway, but he's still half a level away. So it's risky for him to come in lane because Bob has all the tools needed to keep that storm in check.
He does. I've seen Bob before, and this Batrider, just a very, very dangerous player when it comes to this hero, and it's when he turns into Bob the Wrecker and just makes life very, very hard. Still, 2-0 right now. TNC yet to pick up their first kill of the
Radiant's
game.
bottom tower is under attack.
Vincenzo now looking to move into the dive triangle, start harassing Yoe. Yoe's still level 5, so he does take the bounty, but he has to be very, very careful, because this can happen. He got greedy, and he's going to get punished. Oh, he was literally one creep off level 6, John. One creep.
Just not having the patience, playing a bit too forward. I mean, he must feel safe, but we've seen this from Enchantresses before, especially Vincenzo, right? He plays the Ench, he always rotates onto the triangle, prevents the mid from getting too many good top-ups. Carlos dropping low, but does manage to still run off.
Yeah, he does. He got double bashed there by Febby, but again, does not really end up dying, as Bob in the meantime does end up picking off Play Hard for the 4th kill of the game here for Execration. So a very dominant game thus far from this Radiant team. Zhao Yu now bot lane is going to be chased down a little bit. A nice ensnare out. Vincenzo setting up for the Wraithfire Blast, and Zhao Yu is going to drop again. You've got to give real props here to Vincenzo as top lane. They do pick up their first kill of the game here for TNC. Young God able to pick up the kill onto Kimizu. But back to my point, Jonathan, Vincenzo, just a fantastic job so far in this Enchantress.
Yeah, he's just been rotating into the triangle. He manages to get a nice forward ward this time around, and he's just keeping constant check on TNC. He knows they're going to be playing a bit more passive. He knows they're going to look for that farm on Yoe. So he's just denying control of that area, and that just allows Nando to get some free farm going. To match up against Bloodseeker is not something that bully out away from.
So it's gonna make it there in time. Febby, he was trying his best to just help out. Yoe, he's around. He needs to help if he wants to right now, but he won't. Febby is gonna drop Bob, and Kimizu able to set up 2 kills top lane. They do have a siege creep at that tier 1 tower if they want to keep going. Kimizu, he might try for it. I mean, you can still get plenty of damage off here with this Meteor Hammer and the siege creep.
Creep does die, but that's a big spike now for the OD. They've got a lot of damage, and they can just push around, look for the setup, look for the kills. It might be a bit hard to hammer in a storm, but if you get your timing right, it's also going to be easy to keep Yoe in check. And our storm's already just playing jungle, but look at Vincenzo's creep. Just keeping track every time they know he's farming there. They could look to make a move here if they want to.
Oh, it's really good Enchantress play. I've got to tell you, John, this is very, very good play here from Vincenzo. Being able to have the presence of mind to understand the storm is going to jungle and then just microing the creep to follow it. It's very, very annoying, and I believe that slam he did with the Hellbear Smasher actually took 2 of the large creeps away. It's very frustrating to have to deal with here for Yoe.
Yeah, it's a slow start from Storm, and this is one of the issues for TNC. Like, again, you want to kind of run fast with your Bloodseeker and Razor. You don't necessarily want to sit and farm around too much in the mid-game, but you're going to have to wait for your Storm to really come in. He is your main jump in to follow up on your Spirit Breaker. Everyone else just doesn't have that same movement out, and it's going to make it a lot harder to hook up for fights.
Yeah, Febby. I'm not sure about that charge, Febby. He'll get punished for it. Obviously not realizing there were still people around. Bob, he'll take his 5th kill of the game already.
Stupid. Brave, but
Tough
stupid.
times for TNC. 8-1 now, but more importantly, a 3k net worth advantage the way of Execration.
and it's massive. Like, that's going to be really early travels for Bob. He's going to be all around the map, clearing out creeps, getting farm up, can set up easily now for the lassos as well. And for TNC, sure, Young God's kind of keeping up in farm. He's not too far behind, maybe like a 200 gold difference on that pause 1. Everyone else is really sacrificed. So Xiao Yu's farm is a bit behind. He's trying to rush towards the Atos. Still a ways off. No phase boots up as well to kind of enable that. And Yo is the big one that's hurt. He just has no jungle to play in. He's not safe anywhere on the map he tries to farm in. Excretion's done a fantastic job of shutting down that win condition on the mid.
And it's literally just Vincenzo. I mean, it's literally just this Enchantress. I mean, sure, you had the kill from the Batrider solo mid lane, but just the fact that this Enchantress will not leave the poor man alone is just slowing him down so much. They will try to make a play onto play hard, but he'll steal the swashbuckle and just remove himself from that situation. But it does seem like Execration now are slowly preparing to go after that mid-tier 1. And when you've got an Enchantress already at level 7, by the way, John, 10.5 minutes in, it's going to be very easy to take this tier 1 tower, because you have the level 3 in chat, and more importantly, you have the media hammer there from Kimizu to make life even better.
It's just such an easy siege that forces the Fortify out. The side of TNC are kind of clumping Bot, looking to get their own push going in this building.
They've got Bob. He was right under the sentry. They just wait very patiently. That's what you want to see from TNC. Finding those big valuable pickoffs in Young God. He does take the mega kill streak away from Bob. But mid lane is still being forced in. They're going to come in to try and defend, but it's all too late. Kimizu, he does get the T1 tower, and for Bob, he won't mind dying for that, John. That's a very valuable objective to get this early on.
And they're still going to be able to TP in time for the defense bot as well.
Absolutely. They'll go for a fight. They go right after Yoe. He does have plenty of mana as Febby. He's going to try and charge in. Carlo, he might just go for the Rolling Thunder, but no, never mind that, because Bob's here. He has the lasso up if he needs to use it, but it doesn't seem like he does, or maybe not. Astral will do the job. Kimizu able to take that kill for himself. That'll be another kill to go the way of Execration. Mind you, John, they do lose that bottom tier 1, but, you know, you're going to lose it eventually.
Still a really strong trade for Execration. No free objectives for TNC. They still lose heroes in trying to get that push. And they're kind of forced back from bot jungle anyway. So they can't even farm in the area that they've opened up for Young God and for Yo and for Xiao Yu. They're still forced to play in the top jungle. As he's watching, Vincenzo's still there.
He is, but then this time around, he might be in trouble. They try to chase him down with the static link out, but he's got untouchable. You can't kill him. And now the lasso's there from Bob. Onto the cliff, down back onto the low ground. Wherever you throw him, it doesn't really matter, because Xiao Yu is going to drop. And this Enchantress, I mean, I keep saying it, John, he's been very, very annoying. And this is one of those performances where if you're Yoe on this storm, you just feel like rage quitting right now. He has no chance. He has less net worth than Vincenzo does. That's how bad this game's gone.
It's such a slow start. And Storm can flash farm fast. It's just that he doesn't have any space to do so. He's working the bot jungle now. They need Storm to hit at least one item. Like, hit at least the Orchid. He can try to play around, get the charge, follow up with a silence, try to burst one of the heroes down before a response can come through. Rinse and repeat. It does feel like TNC's missing out in that window, though. Like, your mid-game is when you'd expect something like the Razor and Bloodseeker to be really strong and have your Spirit Breaker online to charge in. It just doesn't feel like they have enough to enable any of those heroes to run around. Like, only Young God really has the farm right now, and that's a Razor rushing a BKB. He has to have some follow-up to help him set up, and no one's really ready for that. Whereas for Execration, we've been talking about Bob, his BKBs. Halfway through, Kimizu is working on to what seems to be an Aether Lens as well, so added reach for him to set up with the imprisonment into Hammer. And Vincenzo is just running around, you know, just constantly scouting. Like, we've seen this from Vincenzo from a long time back, way back when he was still RR, right? Like, constantly from that Radiant Edge going into the triangle, shutting down the map. TNC, they'll try to make a smoke play, but they don't really have forward vision here, Mike. They don't see anyone. They get scanned out.
That's a great scan. It's going to be problematic, because now Bob's going to bait them. Play hard, he'll show himself. Tower-Rune, though, going to be down to the bot side, so Yoe, he'll go ahead and take that. Back into the jungle for the Stormers. Well, you're even looking at top lane where Febby, he has to try and deal with these skeletons, and even that's proving to be a bit too much here for the poor Spirit Breaker. The smoke is out. Execration, they'll head through to the bot jungle. They know that this storm is
Radiant's
somewhere
middle
in there.
tower is under attack.
You can't really farm triangle, rather take it away from your Razor. Bot lane, he will show. Luckily, Yoe, he still has the haste rune and he still has plenty of mana. He'll zip TP away, he'll be just fine. It's a nice little force of the rotation there from our Storm, and well, Execration, they're not really going to have too much to do down at this bot side.
Just a little bit of time wasted from Execration. I don't think they mind too much. That is giving room for TNC to work the map a bit better. Like their top jungle is relatively free because of that movement. You are getting some room for Xiao Yu and for Young God to kind of farm up. The process is still sort of slow. And Execration can just kind of set up now. They've got the Blink on Bob who bypasses the BKB. So they got really easy lasso setup now. Just from the Storm alone, from the bat alone, they could look to make a play here if they want to.
Yeah, they're going to try Yoe. Again, could be targeted, but he will zip away still. Bob has a blink up. He won't go for it, though. A blink lasso is there for the bat, but didn't feel confident enough to make the jump in. That's fair. At the very least, TNC has bought time now for Young God to have his BKB up, and it looks like they are finally ready to smoke up as a team and perhaps try to force a team fight with this BKB. It is one of those drafts. You do want to get active early on, so if there's ever been timing, this is probably it. Problem is, though, you have shown off the BKB now, so it's not like it's going to come as a surprise here, but they are smoked up right behind Young God. Use him as bait. Still Vincenzo going to be around to break the smoke, as Yoe will have his smoke broken. Can't do really much about it.
And they had a good ward spot in that area as well, so if anyone was sticking right close to that ramp, smoke would have revealed beforehand anyway. They managed to just cut them off. Again, Vincenzo doing a lot of good work, just scouting, working the map, getting information for the team, and keeping the farm game going. We're really seeing huge escalation coming out from Nando. Desolator coming out here, Mike. So Ray King with Deso with the armor, that could signal Roche next as well.
Yoe, Media Hammer, has he timed it right? Yeah, he has. Sanity's dropped, no messing around from Kamizu. Oh boy, he's not even 5k net worth right now on this Storm Spirit as now Bob. He's gonna fight play hard, and that should be another. You may not even need the lasso for this, or maybe you did, but never mind. They've got the enchant there. That'll slow him down long enough. And that might just be top tier 2 tower. You take that, you go to the outpost, and then you just take Roche.
Yeah, lines up perfectly with that Desolator flying up for Nando in the middle of that fight. So they can easily just take control, get a second life up and going, perhaps for Bob or Kamizu or whoever they feel they need to, and run from there. They're not even going to go for the tower. It looks like they're just going to rush the Roshan with the Deso up. They've got a lot of damage from Kamizu here as well. And for TNC, they don't have the best team fight. Like, they really just don't have team fight control. Blood right area denials really yet. Side of Execration will play it maybe a bit safer. Look to shove out waves first so they can see the angles if there is someone running in. But they've got that option. They've hit big item spikes on Execration for TNC. The BKB and Razor is nice. They've got the Atos up on Xiao Yu, so at the least you can catch someone in Blood right and kind of line up and help Young God get a little bit more from the stack. Doesn't feel like enough though.
Oh, they've at least got the Pango, but the Astral again is there. Kamizu gonna make sure the Blood Right does not land. Carlo, he'll be safe. And they see Vincenzo, but they do not want to try after that Enchantress. We've seen what happens.
Stupid.
If they do try. So Roshan is still standing. Execration, they didn't fully commit to try and finish off that Roshan. TNC. It does seem like their main goal is to try and force in that tier 1 mid, but you've got to commit to a fight. There's no way it's going down unless they get a few kills here on the side of TNC. So they'll smoke up a spawn, they'll try to wrap around the long way, hoping someone's at the top lane, but nobody's going to be around. Fernando, he's back into the Roshan pit.
That's big. They don't have vision here on TNC on the Roche pit as well. They have a ward on the ramp now, north side, but no one's standing there. So they have no clue the Roche is being taken. They're going to miss out on the opportunity, and Execration will now have 2 lives up. It's going to be a lot harder to deal with. Perhaps Nando will freed up the slot. So 3 lives in Raid King at this point.
Oh, no, and they've got Xiao Yu with the lasso out. It just keeps getting worse, John. I mean, no vision over the Roshan pit. It's bad enough,
Radiant's
but
bottom
well, then you
tower
get
is
caught
under
straight
attack.
after. It's just not getting any better for TNC this game one.
No, it's a massive deficit here as well. 9k lead up for Execration. 13-2. TNC aren't finding enough
Stupid.
openings.
Brave,
You know,
but
when you have a Spirit Breaker
stupid.
support, it just feels like you have to be running around, right? You have a Razor, you have a Bloodseeker, you want to catch people out with the smokes. They just haven't been able to find the angles. They've been smoking in mid out of vision from that Radiant ward, so they've kind of had that surprise factor going, but they
Dire's
just don't have the
top tower
forward
is under
vision
attack.
to allow them to get targets. Like, they have this
Radiant's
one
bottom
ward
tower
on the
is
bot
under
jungle that
attack.
no one's playing with. It doesn't work, although last on TNC at least.
Yeah, there is. They'll try onto the OD with the Orchid out. They should have enough control and damage. That could be the start of good things to come for TNC, as that is their third kill of the game. Feels like they haven't gotten a kill for the last 15 minutes. Charges out. Watch the Pango. Carlo, he'll be ruptured up. Yulcenter will be there, but the charge is incoming. He'll try to swash, but he doesn't have the mana now for the Rolling Thunder, and there was no way out anyway. Not with the rupture, so TNC able to find two pretty big pickoffs for themselves. And maybe they could afford to go after that mid-tier 1 now.
They can. They've got the numbers advantage. Respawns aren't too far off, though. Onto the towers isn't exactly the best, so they're going to have to temper their expectations there. But they've got pretty good bounce back in.
Radiant
7k
are
gold. They
scanning.
drop it by 1k. A good scan again from Execration, though, to allow bots to get the safety. TNC, though, showing us where the roster is strong. You know, where this hero lineup is strong is that single target pickoff. They've got the jump in with a charge. With Storm now having the Orchid, Yoa's got a lot more control and instant burst on hand. So I think that's where TNC will have to play. Sort of a run and gun style, look for stragglers, get better information on the map. I think that top ward definitely helped them out in catching Kizu alone. So Execration aren't really set back, Mike. They just smoke up, they're going to try again.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, in the
top
meantime,
tower
Nando,
has
he gets a top tier 2. Basically for free. Well, Execration, they roam through that mid lane. Keep in mind, they still have the Aegis up on their Wraith King for another 3 minutes, so 3 lives to deal with on Nando, and he'll join this time around as they get the lasso. Astral will save from Playhard. A nice save out from that Rubik. So Xiao Yu, he can try to turn back around. There's your BKB and the link up from Young God. Astral will buy some time. It's not looking good though. Not for the Batrider as Bob. He will drop. They'll keep going. Bevy, he gets another strike out. Carlo will be the second to drop. Sanity's is out. Yo's drop, but they've got Kamizu. Not a bad team fight whatsoever for TNC. They lose Yoe, but he's not really worth too much at the moment anyway. It's a 3-for-1.
Massive win for TNC, and Execration maybe just playing a bit too split. I think you have to have Nando around now for these fights, because that's the factor that will make TNC think twice about their spell use, right? Like, the panel touched on it. Do you want to ignore the Wraith King entirely because he has 2 lives? Do you want to try to burn down his first life, try to handle the second life after dropping staggered uses of spells in each phase? And that's where Execration kind of come out on top, especially with the Aegis. But Nando's been much more happy just farming up, kind of cut off from his team, can't really contribute. Execration, despite that early lead, still don't have the early BKBs to help themselves against all that control as well. So they're very vulnerable to that jump in with the Orchid there on Yoe. I think maybe if they want to keep running aggressive, they're going to have to play closer together as a team or wait out those items. Because BKBs aren't too far off for Bob. Kingzu, his axe is still a ways off, so he's not going to be protected. But once you do have that double Astral, and we've seen the saving potential of that, Mike. It's hard to play against.
Well, the Matos rupture is there on some bomb, but Xiao Yu, he's still caught out, but the TPs are coming in. TNC, they'll try to fight. Young God right after that bomb. Batrider as Yoe, he jumps in. They've got the OD trapped up with the link, but no, it's not enough, but it is with the Orchid. Mob, he's dropped as well, but now they've got the Razor. Young God, he'll try to BKB and just walk himself out, but Nando, he's there with a big hit out, finishing off the job, and they even found
Dire's
Febby.
bottom tower has fallen.
Still 2 great pickoffs for TNC,
Radiant's top tower
but
is under
just
attack.
not enough in the end.
Oh, Yoe. He's not safe.
Oh, they've got another Yoe.
Come on, Sprite.
He's quite low on mana. I don't really see a great way out for him.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That'll be about it. He'll keep trying to run, but there is no running.
Stupid.
Dire's bottom tower.
It's a full team wipe coming out from Execration. They managed to make it work. They lose their 2 big heroes, but Nando is now the major issue. Right, because you can focus down the AD, you can focus down the Batrider while they don't have their protective items. What do you do about the Wraith King? Because you're dropping stat points on one hero, you're rupturing the other, you ignore the Wraith King. you still have this massive 2 life here. Last talk about an oh no.
Yeah, Xiao Yu. He just cannot escape the grasp of Bob. They get the Yules off on play hard. Carlo, he'll think about the Rolling Thunder, but Nando, he does have his Aegis expired, so they don't want to go too much further. No need to throw away this lead. They can just move in to that tier 2 mid tower and work on that final outer tower of TNC, and it'll be no problem.
Yeah. Can't really stop that
Dire's
push.
middle tower
I mean,
has
they
fallen.
have some way clear, but the Bloodseeker's dead, and he's your main source. So, no outer control anymore for TNC. It's going to be hard for them to find any sort of catch-up farm in the jungle, and we've kind of seen that be an issue before the towers fell anyway. And Execration has been on point in shutting down areas where TNC wants to farm. TNC haven't been able to play in the bot jungle as much as they'd like to, despite opening that area up slightly with a tier 1 take. And the item timings just aren't lining up. Like, we're seeing Yoa try to save for travel, so no protector for the storm later.
No Vortex out, they've got the Pango, Carlo. It's going to go down, so TNC again finding a nice pick off the back mid lane. Bob, no, it's the Raid King. They found Nando, but can they get through 2 lines is the real question. They'll lift him up, drag him back down. Bebby, a nice charge out, getting the bash for Nando. He'll try to up with Toggle. He won't be able to get a thunder. That'll be 1 line, but can they get the second? Siles is there, Sanity's dropped. It's not enough, Nando. He's still trying to arm with Toggle and just get himself out of there. Astral will save, buy him more time. Maybe they can get him out. Xiao Yu is still trying to burn out. He's just trying, but he is going to end up going down, and they cannot kill Nando. He makes it. This young god, yeah, he is still chased by Carlo, but instead they're going to try after Yoen, who's out of mana again. Flame break, it will not connect. Can't believe Nando gets out.
Yeah, they took the first life. They don't have enough to follow through for the second. The saves are there from Kimizu, and that's the OD without Ags. That's only 1 charge of Astral. Imagine if he had multiple. That fight would have gotten a lot worse for TNC a lot earlier. That did force the buyback from Carlo. So our Pangolier's not going to have backup, but who really cares? It's a support Pango at this game. Him coming back in enabled them to get the counter control back and force TNC away. TNC in a very precarious spot. High ground's open. No Roshan to play for yet, but Nando's got the damage.
Yeah, and they've got Young God. Bob is going to just refresh up, just try to go for the BKB and turn onto the Bat Rider, but Bob's got his own BKB up. Nether Strike, it will land Bebby. He may have set up here onto the Bat. He is still standing though, with the Rupture out. He just won't move. They haven't finished him off yet. Astral will be there, and Nando, he gets Young God down. Onto play hard he goes. That'll be another. In fact, Bebby, he's not going to make it out either. And Bob survives, John. They just did not pump out the damage as Rod and Atos on a creep wave. Yeah, Nando will be brought back with the Vortex. This could be the last ditch team fight. He's going to try again to run out. Can they kill him this time? We've seen this before. He'll be fine.
I'm just surprised. It felt like they had Bob. They had the sentry ward already down. They knew the Bat Rider was standing there. They didn't go down from the high ground. There was a bit of a disconnect where Febby was willing to charge in. He was at the back, but they just ignored Bob. Maybe worried about the counterplay. It ends up working Execration's way. You don't find a kill in the back. You don't really get anything in exchange there for TNC, except for that 1 Raid King life. But again, it doesn't matter if you don't manage to clean up Nando. And TNC, they need to start finding something. You've seen them get the kills with this pick-off when they zip in, when they've got the charge going. I still feel like they have the items to find single targets. They need to find better targets in the raid. Even a kill on Vincenzo, as silly as it sounds, because it's Ench, she's worth more than Xiao Yu. So you're still going to get a good gold bump from killing off an Ench. Just find some of those easier kills to build up here for TNC and try to go from there.
Both teams are kind of waiting out that next Roshan now as Bob. He does get a nice regen rune from himself. Roshan is up in 45, and it's going to be TNC's job to try and counter this Roshan, as it does seem like Execration are going to be well and truly in position to have first dibs on that Roche. I say that, they are heading to the mid lane. Bob, he might find another lasso target. Young God is around. He won't go too far. Keeps his distance. And Execration again, their eyes are set on Roshan. Still 20 seconds left for it, but they are not going to leave this area until it does spawn up. We'll see how TNC fights it, but without these buybacks available, you might just be stuck on your high ground, and you might have to rely on that high ground defense.
I think they will have
Radiant's
to.
bottom
Like, they don't
tower
have the
is under
forward vision
attack.
outside to play anyway. They have no info as to where Execration's playing on the map. Execration have all these massive wards watching that top jungle, watching entry points, watching the smoking spots as well on mid. It's going to be very hard for TNC to contest. And that Roshan is up. Not going to take long here for Execration to clean that up. Lots of damage coming through from Nando and Kingzu. We've got the Ags up now on the OD as well, Mike. So Ags up, double Astral Imprisonments, lots of save potential there. I am a bit sad that they do give Bob the Ag shard. I just feel like if you want to have fun, give it to Kingsley just to really put them on edge. But of course, the Flame Break is a big tool for Bob to deal some damage out into Book and Prod. And TNC now definitely high ground hold. They can play pretty well there with Bloodright. I think ideally you'd say have a lot more gold than Yoa. Maybe if you had Ags, the high ground defense would look a lot better, but that's a pipe dream for the Storm at this point.
And it is. Right now, you're just trying to work on towards that BKB. Just try to remain alive as a Storm. I think that's probably the most important aspect here. TNC. Execration, I mean, they're not going to try and force an immediate high ground attempt. They are going to just control the map, keep escalating that net worth lead they already have. And there's no real reason to force things that you don't need to. I mean, you've still got a Blink Dagger to come out on Carlo, still got a Swift Blink to come out on Nando. I mean, there's plenty of items to farm up here. And even that shard you talked about on Kimizu, you'll have it sooner or later. So I don't think they need it to have fun in this game. I mean, they are 25k ahead. 26 to 10, John. I'm sure Execration are having a lot of fun right now. But shards will be coming eventually.
You know, I'm wondering now, if Batrider sharded up with Firefly, does he still burn the ground? Astral Imprisoned shard? Can he walk around? That sounds so dumb.
Dire's top tower
We'll see
is under
how good of a
attack.
mood Ice Frog's in tonight, shall we? We'll see. I'm sure we'll find out if Kimizu does get the shards in time. Nando. They are slowly starting to move their way up. Lasso, it's going to be there. They've got the Razor straight off the bat. Astral to make sure Bevy can't dodge either. Yoe though, he's jumped in. Kimizu dropping low. Can they save him? Astral's going to be there. He's in a block with the Rupture, has not dropped. And even if Sanity's on the tail end of that with the Flame Break, might be enough to play hard. Well, not quite. They will make it back to the fountain in time. The tier 3 tower is going to drop. They'll continue to try. Creep waves, but Nando, he does not care. In fact, he's jumped in. Look at the damage output. Xiao Yu, one hit away from going down. And there's that one hit we talked about. Demi, he tried to charge in to help out, but he's been trapped up now by Carlo. Yoe, he'll do the same, but it's just not effective. Not against the right fix of Nando.
Dire's middle barracks.
Are you going for another?
Dire's middle barracks.
They could go tier 4 Ashansi, but they'll
Stupid.
play it safe. They'll go for the bot set racks.
Stupid.
The defense choices for TNC is kind of shot down. At the least, when their Bloodseeker's back up, they will have Rupture again, so they can try. They can keep trying to poke and prod with Yoe. They are focused on a different lane right now. It looks like they are willing to surrender to bot side racks. Play for top, wait for the respawns. At least you have more bodies to throw out, but at this point, I don't think Execration can be stopped. Like, maybe you're a bit too low on mana for Bob. Otherwise, you still have everything ready to go. Santi's not really required right now to win these fights, and they'll just go for it. So you do have Xiao Yu back. He's got the Rupture. You don't have Bevy to charge in.
Oh, Lasso again, Bob. He's just so on point with these. He's got the Razor. Young Dot's gone for 100 with no buyback. Bob, he's just a sharpshooter, Johnny. He's just quick on the trigger. Execration into that final lane of barracks, and yeah, that's it, GG. I've been anticlimactic, but Execration, they were always in control of this game. It was never really close.
Yeah. Execration just understood what they had to do there. They focused in on the mid matchup the most, I think, but they had really strong side lanes. Well, Kimizu performed spectacularly on the OD with all of the saves coming out, but I think the big star really was Bob. Like, he managed to find the spots he had to go in and, you know, lock in. He prevented Yoe from building up. And that Orchid timing was so stalled out from the Storm that they couldn't play around. They couldn't look for those charges in with an instant silence and pick off. And Vincenzo as well. cutting off the entire jungle by himself prevented TNC finding catch-up farm at all.
Yeah. I'd agree with you. I think Vincenzo, like, you don't generally look at the pos 5 as
what Melee's.
So Melee said this idea that like when the Bloodseeker used to be a free offlaner, like used to be like top tier offlaner. So
Yeah.
picking him into Pango was just a plus, right? The Pango was nice, and then you pick him and you got a free lane most of the time.
Yeah.
But nowadays Bloodseeker is less of a free offlaner. He's not that good. He has a lot of matches that he loses, particularly against Enchanters, which is one of the
5
worst
seconds
matches
remaining.
as a support. And so what Melis was saying is, if you're a Pango, if you're playing Pango
Radiant
and you're
team
mid,
ban.
yeah, Bloodseeker counters you. You're done. Like that game is really difficult for you. You can. And I think now he would say you can build Lincolns because he got buffed, but still, it's like it's bad. If you're offlane, build Yules and Shard, and you actually have a lot more playstyle than you think. If you're 4 or 5, all of a sudden the Bloodseeker feels awful. Why? Because you want the Bloodseeker to counter when you play Bloodseeker offlane.
Radiant team
The real
ban.
good matchup Bloodseeker offlane is having a carry that's countered. Like you get a PA, for example, you rupture her, she's done for the fight, right? That's great. You don't want to play Bloodseeker offlane and they pick Dusa, and all of a sudden your only role is to counter a 4.
You always want to be countering up.
Yes.
You want your supports to counter cores. You want your offlaner to counter the enemy
10
carry.
seconds remaining.
You always want to be countering up, not down. And
5 seconds
yeah,
remaining.
I totally agree with that
Team
because like
ban.
back in the day, it was like when Pango was first being run, like everybody was like, oh, Javelin, Maelstrom, like oh, damage build, Swashbuckle, ha ha ha. But nowadays, Blink Dagger, Yules, and now the Shard is introduced. So
Yes.
there's never been more tools for you to be able to have a successful game as a Pango versus a
10
Bloodseeker.
seconds remaining.
And in particular, the act of initiating first just
5
takes a lot of the
seconds
power
remaining.
out of Rupture.
Also, let me tell you, in case you're not a Pango spammer, you don't know this trick. If you Yules and then Shield Crash right afterwards, you will Shield Crash exactly in place, which gives you a little bit more seconds. And plus the Shard as well, you can get up to solid 4 or 5 seconds of not moving. And all of a sudden, Rupture does not seem so great. Yeah. So,
Mango is so sick at locking down.
yeah, he's great. And that build that Tabo was actually one of the first people to really showcase it in international level. The Yules Hunter build on Pango is the main build now.
Radiant
so,
team
Thank God.
pick.
I used to just do it anyway. Everyone was buying like the
Team
javelins and
pick.
stuff. I'm like, but I don't want to. I want to
Yeah.
stun someone for 6 seconds.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
But then people will watch Luki and they will watch Tops and be like, but you can build Echo Saber on Pango.
Okay.
Weaver's
alright.
now for TNC.
Oh
Predators.
yeah, they got a Weaver. TNC's got a shot.
Yeah, they do actually.
Dire
They didn't have to
team
ban
pick.
Dawnbreaker either, because by giving. Well, why would they do that? Why would you? Oh, okay, no. They had to give away Weaver or Dawnbreaker, and TNC Predator are smart enough to know that Weaver is absolutely godforsakenly broken.
Yes, exactly. It's better.
So they snatched it up.
And they got bait though against Weaver.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm glad OD's out. Hero just looks too good every time.
5
What can't he
seconds
do?
remaining.
I'm still a fan of the
Stupid OD.
Rubik as a counter for the O. Still think that's
I'm honestly not that big. I
No?
mean, just personally, I think that.
Radiant team pick.
Oh right, so you think Rubik is bad even if he does counter?
I think he's fine. I think if your team likes playing with him, he's fine. He's not my cup of tea.
Like Hustler. I would like to see that. Or OB
Yeah.
Neon.
You notice Snapfire pick rate is
Why is that cut?
plummeted. Terrible
10
win rate.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, she does.
Terrible,
She
terrible win
does.
rate. She's just been losing for everybody.
5
Even though you
seconds
feel
remaining.
really good about
Radiant
the
team
lane,
ban.
and especially certain combos. It's been getting worse and worse. Weaver and Bane, though, still remain
That
the go-to support.
does the win rate matter though
Dire
when you are
team
first pick
ban.
first bad material?
Radiant
As
team
much,
ban.
especially for support.
I think it matters if it's really, really bad. Yeah.
Like really bad, like 17% bad.
Yeah, it's like the worst hero
Oh,
in the
okay.
Southeast Asian
Counterpoint.
DPC right now.
Counterpoint.
Counterpoint.
At TI, Maz had a 20% win rate for the vast majority of the tournament. But
Great
guess
10
counterpoint.
what?
seconds remaining.
Maz was still picked. Collapse 1 TI.
5
Who's
seconds
laughing now?
remaining.
I think that that point
You go
also
more
goes
British.
with the OD, as in like I think most of the time I want to see this hero banned now.
Yeah.
But I think there are teams out there who could feel very confident giving up OD and show that this hero like actually can't do anything. So, but it does require like a high amount of experience and coordination. You really have to understand what you're doing with the hero. So I would much prefer to just see it regularly banned if you're just not super overwhelmingly confident. And I'm talking like when I say this, I mean like literally like the top like 6 teams in the world after a period of time of practicing and playing and scrimming.
Wow.
I think it's like just overwhelmingly.
I don't know if Cap said this already because I don't listen to anything he says.
True.
But I think another reason why Snapfire's pick rate is going down is just because of how the meta's changed. So
Okay.
Snapfire is a hero that likes to cast her ult from back and doesn't like being jumped on. Guess who's coming to the meta? Spirit Breaker. If you pick up a Snapfire, then the
that's a
enemy
good
just
point.
get a 4 Spirit Breaker and they feel much better. You're forced to ban him and something else gets through. Weaver also is a spoiler right now that is really good at getting on the back line and annoying heroes like Snapfire. Similarly, Kunkka's coming into play. I think Kunkka's another hero that's quite good at like canceling that from range. I just think all these heroes make Snapfire's game way harder to play. So when you're picking her up in first phase, it lets these other people pick stronger heroes like OD, like Kunkka, like Razor, whatever, that don't really care that much about Snapfire, I'd say.
I like that point. That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah, I think
Dire
Sapphire has a
team
really
back.
hard time getting off good kisses
Radiant
nowadays. There's a lot of
team
good
back.
heroes that are good at cancel. So I think that's something that we probably haven't talked about at all. But I think I'd like to put forward that point.
With the prime right now and the pandemic in general, it's really hard.
Yeah.
What were we saying, Sheen?
10
Right,
Who are
seconds
you?
remaining.
Who let this guy on the couch?
It's because it's Christmas
5
sweater.
seconds
Let's talk about the
remaining.
actual draft that we're seeing in front of us. Why don't we?
Sure.
Execration, once again, at this point, I think it's a statement they're making that they don't want to pick Mars. They go for the Tide this time, not the Centaur, which is better.
I don't know what happened to Centaur. It looked good when they were playing it.
They realized that everyone's picking Mars and Centaur is not very good against Mars.
They
Dire
watched
team
the
back.
VOD and they saw Cap saying, I don't know about that one, Chief. And they were like, all right, guys, scratch it from the list.
The Chief! He said Chief, boys! But Tide,
That's how you know he's being serious.
Tide is still pretty top tier. I actually saw a lot of... I mean, he just stopped being picked for a while because Mars became so much more predominant. And usually got banned
10
afterwards, right?
seconds
Because one
remaining.
would pick Mars, the other one would pick supports. But Tide is still up there.
It's one of the
5
best heroes
seconds
that's
remaining.
slowing down the game. So
Yep.
I think you prefer to be able to have the harder carry when you get Tidehunter, because this is one of the best heroes to just kind of like sit in front of the mid tower and keep that alive. And your mid tower is an important piece
Dire
of the
team
map
pick.
to be able
Radiant
to hold in order to
team pick.
protect your jump. Evading the triangle specifically feels really awkward when the enemy still has their mid tower up, because they could so easily, they have TP points to be able to get behind.
Right. So I just because Rubik came up, I want to
I was
say
about to
that
call
if
you out for
there's
this.
I want to say if there is a hero
10
I really like
seconds
Rubik with,
remaining.
it's Tidehunter, because Rubik and Tidehunter give their lane a
5
proper
seconds
purpose.
remaining.
So if you don't know how their spells function, Tidehunter's
Radiant
Anchor Smash
team
and Rubik's
pick.
Fable both decrease damage. So
damage,
something that they're very good at doing is clearing wave, reducing damage, denying a lot, and then pulling the wave back through the hard camps. So if you play a lane like that, it's very easy to execute. It's pretty strong. It's just a nice lane together. I think those two
10
heroes very great
seconds
synergy.
remaining.
And
Dire
yeah,
team pick.
it is good against Rubik.
He's also great against the... he's great against the weak... Yeah, sorry. The Undying...
Yeah.
That was a proof that I didn't listen.
PA and TV's still out there if they want to take their carry now, because they have
Radiant
seen the
team back.
offlane matchup. Nope, we're going to go Dusa. Okay, so
Yeah.
this Dusa is what they did last time when they opened with Bane Tide. The problem with TB is perhaps it would leave you too cooldown dependent. Whereas Dusa does
10
facilitate
seconds
Rubik as a
remaining.
playmaker because she
5 seconds remaining.
So, the Undying pick for Febby. I think Febby might be the
Dire
most
team
diverse
back.
5 that we've seen in general in the TPC SCA.
Oh yeah, he likes to show off all the heroes he can play as support.
Radiant
No, he keeps
team
losing.
ban.
So,
But he's playing a lot of heroes while losing.
Dire
Eh?
team
sure
ban.
I mean,
is.
you would feel really bad if you were just playing one hero over and over and over.
I'm a
again and
genuine
losing
quite...
with it every time.
I've had this conversation with all my panels, and I want to know what you guys think. When you are in a situation where you're losing all your games, right?
Mhm.
Is it better to try to diversify your drafts like they're trying to do here? Or are you better off sticking to one
10
strategy and at
seconds
least learning
remaining.
from that one strategy and perfecting it? Or one or two strategies?
5
I think that
seconds
is
remaining.
more strategy for how you practice and scrims rather than
The
your
officials.
officials.
Okay.
So like after this series is done, okay, look back at the tape, figure out like some of the things that you think went wrong. What exactly, like if somebody's uncomfortable with the play style, what feels a little bit more
10
natural for
seconds
people.
remaining.
And, you know, then practice whatever
5
you want to try
seconds
out in
remaining.
your upcoming affiliate. Because that's a big advantage of the
Dire
DPC
team
right now, is the fact that you can just sit there and work on 2 lineups for a full week and then get to play an official.
I also wouldn't say that like this is diversifying too much. I think Weaver, Mars, Luna is incredibly standard and something they've probably played a lot.
10
I
seconds
think they've
remaining.
tried to run a Death Bullish lineup like that before. I think Undying is just something
5
that
seconds
Febby
remaining.
either thinks is a comfort hit for him that he wants to play with Luna to secure her lane, or it's something that they've picked as a counter pick. If I'm looking at the game, I feel like they'll be able to take really good fights around high grounds, especially cliffs. The ability to put a tombstone up there completely stops Tidehunter's initiation, makes it really, really hard for Execration, who have very little mobility, like near none, to fight around, and gives them the vision that they need to get like a really good arena off, and start the fight with Void Spirit. So I actually really love this Undying.
I like that.
Also, you could have the most versatility on your 5.
You may
I
now
think,
select your heroes.
I think it has less impact on the rest of you, to be honest.
Picked Batrider again! How could
Yeah.
he?
Oh, it's a good matchup. And he did destroy that game with it. How many deaths in lane this time for Yowie?
It's definitely easier as a Void Spirit than it is as a Storm.
Yes.
Because
Because the sim like doesn't take you out of kill range, but it can at least get you back to the tower.
So is that 0 deaths I'm hearing on this panel?
They do have no stuns on their supports if they TP to help him, so it's kind of concerning.
yeah. They could definitely just like run. He could just tower dive so easily. I'm gonna put it this way: if he dies more than once in lane, the game's over.
Okay.
Fair.
Because
Okay.
that's what happened last game. So
Like, final predictions?
I like what TNC's got, but Execration from last game told me that they're gonna stomp again. Let's go!
let's go TNC. They've got so much team fight. How could they
Wow.
lose?
How could they?
Cap, 2 times supporting TNC. Is he their bad luck charm?
duck.
We're gonna have to find out as we go over to game number 2 with MLB and John.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amber Plus. Yes, we are back to cast this game number 2 between TNC and Execration. John, I'm going to put you right on the spot. I'm going to put our observer on the spot. What angle is Pythian coming in with for this this showing, this entry? What's the angle? He's got to up his game every time.
Yeah, every time it's got to be different, otherwise Mike's going to put you in the spot. Still, what's also put in the spot is, of course, TNC's performance for game 1 wasn't quite spectacular one that they were looking for, and Bob does get to pick up Batrider again. Not just that, but we've got the BDZ Rubik. We used to talk about that, right? The BDZ's Rubik, along with his Earth Spirit, were just among the best in the region. So I'm looking forward to see what Carlo does there, and I think it's going to be important for TNC to get that earlier start going this time around.
And that is a good angle. I'll give you that. Cherry Blossoms, statue, TNC logo. Very, very nice angle, Pythian. You've outdone yourself this time, sir. Well done.
Yeah, beautiful pan in. Thank you, Pythian. Just amping up production every single time, Mr. Production, as you have dubbed him, Mike. Doing well. Good to see. Still hoping that TNC has a better run. I mean, Noah and the Void Spirit should be a little bit better up against the Batrider, but not much. I mean, Bob still knows how to work that matchup. Saw it in game 1. Expect nearly the same timings coming out from him, and maybe a bit easier, because the panel pointed out TNC does not have stuns in the supports. So even if they come in to bail him out, they can maybe heal him up with Febby's and with the Undying at the very least from Febby. But beyond that, there's really not much you can stop if Batrider dies in.
Yeah, that certainly says. We are going to have a quick pause because Carlo needs to change some settings around, and we are going to have a quick few disconnections. I really do like that stick. Very, very nice. K-Barbecue. So, see you there. And gotta say, that man's name makes me very hungry, John. K-Barbecue, obviously, big fan of the Korean barbecue out there. Fantastic
yes.
stuff.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
I know we
Miss me
probably
some
lost this
samgyup.
game, but we can still do.
You know,
All right, guys.
I think we've had a bunch of players always say,
do
they love going for samgyup after a match. Who is it? I think it must have been Kuku. Samgyup. It's Korean barbecue, pork belly.
What the? Why did you say it in that way? Why didn't you just say Korean barbecue so I can understand?
But everyone knows it's samgyeopsal.
Why didn't you? Now I look like an idiot, John. XD. Well done.
You're just not Korean enough. There you go. The well-timed XD from Vincenzo. There you go down to you.
When you least expect
You gotta get your research in, like be like Vincenzo. Get into a K-drama series, change your name, and just live life as a Korean lead. That's it.
We'll see if they fight over these bounty runes. Bot lane, it should go the way of Execration. I mean, there might be a bit of a fight. Highly doubtful, though, as Sakuchi is there. Play hard. Well, he does outclick him. They do get a 3-for-1. No fight necessary. This little bonus start there for the side of TNC is Xiao Yu will be able to take the last one on the map. It's a quick little net worth advantage. But we will start off with the mid lane. Of course, you do have Yoe there on the Void Spirit against Bob once again on the Bat Rider. I suppose there is going to be a slight advantage. Play hard does take down his Observer Ward, so you are going to be lacking some vision here for Bob. John, do you think this matchup's going to be much easier here for Yoe? Because he did have a very rough game last game around.
No, it doesn't get much easier. Like, you're still a melee here up against Bat Rider. You can maybe try to dissimulate away, but look at Bob just running him down. He just melts less than half HP already taken away and already forced to pop the stick. Not much HP coming back as well. Once Bob hits level 3, that's around the spike. Bob gets aggressive. And Void Spirit level 3, you tend to go for, say, dissimulate 1 point, 2 points in Resonant Pulse. Still not much you can do. So I think Bob's still going to have a good time. They haven't blocked the small camp as well, so that snowball start for Bob can just kick in when it's the lane shoved out.
We are having some lag issues now. Is it still storming where you are, John? Is the typhoon still going on?
I think the typhoon is left most of the Philippines. Maybe it's near Palawan now. I'm not exactly sure. But the damage has been done. The internet has been dead for a few days. It's up and down in certain areas, and that means like certain IP exchanges, IPXs are maybe facing issues. So routing's a bit iffy. And that just means for our two, you know, these used to be two full Filipino teams, they're going to have a few connection issues here and there, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hell, even I'm having some issues going to SCA right now, so I understand, John. I get it. Still, I mean, we should have a reconnection soon. Hopefully everything does remain fine for these two. We do get unpaused again. So look at top lane. We'll have a look at Nando, of course. He's going to be there with Vincenzo. You naturally got Xiao Yu there again, along with Play Hard this time around. Weaver and Mars combination, very annoying to deal with, and Nando's already kind of experiencing the harass game here from Play Hard. But you do have Vincenzo around on that Bane, but generally speaking, Bane is one of those heroes that just dominates the lane in most situations, and I'd say one of these situations is going to be this one right now, where Play Hard, he can be annoying with the Sakuchi, but overall, Vincenzo probably is going to be able to keep him away from Nando.
Yep, it's not going to be too troublesome here for Nando. I think the key thing is that Xiao Yu is extremely zoned out as well from creep wave, so he can't actually try to walk up. Ranged hero matchup for Mars is not as straightforward, as you can't really just use God Tribute to get some harassment off. So Xiao Yu's game is going to be slowing down a bit, and we've been seeing Vincenzo focusing on that aspect of the lane, just going up with the Brain Zap, preventing Xiao Yu from being comfy and just securing safe farm for Nando. Not going to be a very active lane for Execration, but you don't really need it when you've got the Deuce. You just want to hit your farm spikes and go from there.
We see you doing it.
Can we just target one person?
So many voice lines. Oh, Carlo, there you go.
Stupid.
Hey, Carlo's in the right spirit. He knows what's going on. So you know, it's probably not on Dota this time around. Typhoon just happened. It's expected. They're going to try again. Hopefully the servers, remain standing for now. Let's see. We should have a look at that last lane as well. I mean, bot lane, we really haven't talked about it too much, but you've got Young God and Febi there against Carlo and Kamizu. Does feel like a lane that Young God should have a decent enough time in, as there's not really much slowing down. It's that classic Tide Rubik combo, but actually, he may have overextended now, but you've always got Febi on the Undying, slowing out Kamizu anyway. Not really too big of a deal here for the Luna.
Yeah, you still get some stable farm coming through from Young God, but I think there's a lot of ways for Execration to actually be aggressive here. Like, they've got the Anchor Smash and Fade Bolt, so a lot of right-click from Young God just disappears, making the lane a lot harder for him to just manage down. Febi already popped his last Mango as well, so he's out of mana to harass here.
Yeah, and Bob, he ends up getting another solo kill onto Yoa with the tip sound immediately. We talked about this last game, but Bob, he's very dangerous on this Bat Rider, and I mean, you talked about it, John. It's not too much of an easier matchup here for poor old Yoa.
Yeah, and I believe Cap said it, right? Like, if there's more than one death in that lane, TNC's gonna have a hard time bouncing back in, so we'll see if they can get that done. They do manage to run down Young God down Bob, as we were saying, right? Like, It's tied, it's Rubik, you've got a lot of physical damage coming through, you can reduce a lot of damage as well from Luna, so she can't really fight back. And Febby already popped his last Mango, so he doesn't have much presence in lane. He does have another Clarity left with one Clarity running, but he can't really soften up Kimizu enough for Young God to just run him down. Like, even if you get a couple of the K-stacks on, it's not enough.
It's that awkward time now for the Undying, right? Where you're out of mangoes, but you've got clarities, but you've got to wait for the clarities to do their job, and well, maybe he doesn't want to be on the front lines to have that cancelled. And you are kind of seeing the effects. It's almost like you're better off denying yourself than bothering with the clarities. As top lane, Vincenzo is going to be in a bit of trouble. Xiao Yu will keep the chase up, and eventually will have enough damage to get the job done. Xiao Yu able to pick up his first kill of the game, and the first kill for TNC overall.
It's a nice kill to pick up, especially on Morris. That should help Xiao Yu
Mid lane.
accelerate and farm although. Oh god.
Brave,
Yeah.
All right.
stupid.
Yeah, I mean, Cap might have been a bit of a prophet here, John. He's kind of told us what's going to happen already. Bob, his second kill of the game, and what do you do? I mean, you're playing Void Spirit. What do you do in this situation? Once Dissimulate's gone, you're basically just as good as dead.
Yeah, I mean, you remember one other player that picking Void Spirit into Batrider? That was Alacrity. And Alacrity was one of the best Void Spirits. Like, you never had a good game against Batrider, so I don't think the matchup just ever works, and Yo is just gonna have to play it safe. Play hard's on mid now, but a Weaver support doesn't do anything to stop Bob. So you can only really just pull back, give someone else the lane for EXP, and just farm small camps, but Yoa doesn't clear that fast without the Astral Step, so it's a slow process to hit those spikes. I think Execration have a great foundation to build on. Bob has a 2-level lead over Yoa. That is scary. He's got the lasso ready, he's rushing the travels as we tend to see, and without any sort of support rotations, he's just going to keep doing this.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse, John. I mean, you're an Undying player. How bad of an Undying game do you think this is right now for Febby?
Pretty bad.
Considering the circumstance. Pretty bad, right? Like, he's dying in lane, he's not able to really get the impact on. It's not a good Undying game whatsoever right now.
Carl it up. TP?
He's going to try, and he does make it out. Very nice. Not very nice though for TNC, as I'm sure Yoe would have really appreciated that kill right now.
And that's time he's not spending clearing out these camps, which he doesn't clear out fast as well. And so it's stalling out your Void Spirit even more. Bob has a 3-level lead now, somehow, and your Batrider is completely unchecked. Your supports can't do anything to help out about that. And going back to the point of Undying, they are dropping Kimizu low at the least.
They are. With the Tombstone out, the slow was enough. Young God eventually gets through the tied HP. There's no support there for Kimizu to stay alive, so a very nice kill there for Young God now. And that's more like it. That's what you want to see coming out here from TNC. And I think the main issue is going to be the fact that Bob is just pulling way too far ahead. And, well, I mean, Void Spirit John, not exactly known to be a jungling hero. Bob's got the lasso up. The Playhard's going to rotate now into the mid lane with a double damage rune, so maybe they can get something done. At the very least, buy a bit of time for Yoed to remain in that mid lane and just farm out the creep wave.
Just get as much space as possible for the Void Spirit, dipping in and out of lane into the small camp, trying to hit that level 6 spike. Even if you get the level 6, I think the issue with Void Spirit against Batrider that we've seen, again, from Alacrity having to deal with that so many times throughout multiple Pro Series is the item timings, right? Batrider is going to have travels, going to work towards Blink, going to work towards BKB. A Void Spirit, what does he build in this case? Maybe a Eul's? Maybe a Kaya? Those are the only 2 real options for Void Spirit, and neither of those does enough to stop the Batrider. Even if you get a Eul on yourself to dispel some Napalm or to stall out the Batrider,
Brave, but
you're still likely to melt. If there's just no follow-up to kind of run unless you've got 2 Astrals up and got the mana to jump out, even then, you might just burn out to the tick damage of Bob. So I'm not sure how you recover as a Void Spirit, because we've seen this so many times and we have never seen it work, I think. And that, again, that's Alacrity dealing with, I think, Bob. It was specifically still Bob on that matchup as well. So Bob knows how to work this no matter who's playing that Void Spirit.
It was Bob, and I remember Fearless as well was playing quite a bit of Batrider against poor old Alacrity. It was either the Batrider or the Viper from Fearless back in those days. That was a very rough time for poor old Alacrity, as he just couldn't catch a break. They just kept drafting in Void Spirit, and they kept leaving Batrider and Viper. Just a very rough time for the poor man. I'm sure he's well and truly happy he doesn't have to play Void Spirit anymore, at least for now. We do have the go-ahead again, TNC. They've all reconnected. we'll get on with it. Game number 2, 2-4 right now. Very slight net worth lead
Ooh.
for Execration. We won't get on with it, John. We'll have another pause out. Going back to the going to Medusa for a second. I mean, Nando's having a very, very good. All right, this is just complete free farm at this point. 44-9, and eventually he's just going to rotate jungle. I mean, you can try to invade that jungle with, say, play hard on the Weaver and try to be as annoying as Vincenzo was last game around, but I highly doubt it's going to have the same impact.
Yeah, I think Nando's just going to be able to take over. We talked about that lane matchup. We're like, there's not much Xiao you can really do to shove out Medusa. You have to come in close to kind of use your God's Rebuke. Nando can kind of slow you down with Mystic Snake. You could try to Spear, but you don't really have enough follow-up damage to burn through the Mana Shield. We've already seen early rotations forced out from Play Hard, who also can't contribute too much anyway on the Weaver. So I think for TNC, this is a very passive playstyle that they have to wait for leveled spikes. Maybe once you get level 6 in Xiao Yu, it starts to feel better, but I think you're going to have to wait for a blink. And Xiao Yu's actually rushing the Meteor Hammer instead on our Mars, so he's looking for more self-setup.
Hello, Mike.
At the same time, that will make it harder for them to jump in. Like, without that early blink, you're relying on Yoa to jump in by himself, really. Maybe player can Shukuchi in, but that's a Void Spirit with no farm that you want to throw in first.
No, absolutely. We'll get back into it, though. Unpauses here. Hopefully not too many more pauses to go between these two, as obviously things are rough right now, but hopefully things stabilize for a little bit as... And it's still happy days for Execration with this way the game's going, as Carlo is going to get play hard on the high ground. And you know what that means, John? A slow, painful death, unless he gets a Kuchi TP, and he makes it. No protection.
Makes it out. Waste some time from Bob, but they don't really block in camps anyway, so Bob's going to be alright. It's more time that you're not spending in lane pressuring, so that's more time where Nando's farming solo, getting his farm up, Dragonlance almost done, and once that Dragonlance is up, Arena is down though.
They've got the Meteor Hammer to boot, they have got a massive target in Nando. That's what you want to see, is play hard will give the tip back to Nando, and I'm sure TNC, they're holding on to their tips for those valuable kills. John, I'm sure they're waiting for their little revenge tips.
Yeah, that's a big kill, and I kind of doubted the Meteor Hammer, but if you can catch out the Deuce who's too far forward, you can make it work. Still, Bob's going to show up. He still has Lasso. They could play here.
Yeah, they just need that Nightmare setup from Vincenzo with Xiao Yu. He does get that sticky napalm applied. Does get a nice spear off, though, but you still have that spear out around the Nightmare. He will go after the Undying instead, because Bob, he can still catch up on the Bat Rider. Xiao Yu still barely surviving, but it's not enough. Even with the Fairy Fire and the Soul Rip, they just could not keep the Mars alive.
Just not enough sustain with all that burn coming through from Bob. He's got level 4 Napalm already up, level 2 Firefly, and now Nando can just switch into the jungle. He knows maybe it's not safe to stay in lane. The Meteor Hammer is enough to follow through and burn me down. I've got my jungle. There are no wards to watch from TNC. And he's just going to be able to clear out a couple of stacks already done. Just working camps individually now. And you're set. You can definitely farm a little bit faster on the Deuce in this case, simply because the Luna isn't quite up to snuff yet in terms of farm, although Young God does have his own triangle, but that is monitored here by Execration. So they know they're giving the Luna a little bit of room. It is a Dragonlance build as well. They are making moves top, though.
Yeah, Vincenzo does get caught out. Yo, I mean, these kills are very important for him, even if it is just support. He does need every kind of kill he can get to try and make a comeback throughout this game, and that'll get him started. Bot lane, however, Playhard's been chased down now by Carlo.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I mean, he's okay for now, but Bob seems to want to have a look around. Don't see him yet. I suppose without the lasso, it's going to be rather hard to catch this Weaver anyway. They might just have to settle for this bottom tier 1. That's what they'll do, but play hard, he's still going to try and be difficult and just deal with this creep wave. And it looks like he may get away with it, as Kimezu, he does push rather slow.
Yep, it's a solo tide, no backup for him to really help push. Up top, they have been applying pressure with Xiao Yu. Tower's pretty much gone, but Carlo's here.
They are. Zhao Yu gonna get lifted up. We'll get the T1 tower down. Bob now being caught with the meteor hammer. Carlo, he only used the lift. So Bob, he's gonna take a lot of damage, but is it enough to really finish the job? It doesn't seem like it. At least they do save Zhao Yu's life. And Carlo, he might drop. He's still trying to go after the Mars, but Bob now, he needs his own exit strategy. Yoe is gonna jump in with the simulate, nothing connecting. Bob, how are you juking these spells out? Play hard.
What?
Surely sees him soon. Bob is somehow still alive. But finally goes down and Zhao Yu.
Was under attack.
He had that mouse hovering over that tip button for quite a while, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they managed to get the punishment in from TNC, taking tier 1 and getting Young God to rotate into the lane so he can start farming up that jungle now as well, taking over control here from Execration. Execration, they sacrificed Bob. At the least he already had travels up, so
Dire's middle tower
doesn't lose too much gold, which is a bright side, but it's still a massive turn for TNC, keeping themselves in a good position in this game, less than 1k lead their way. Young God already accelerating here on the Luna with the Dragon Lance up. This is a lot of farm. They're cutting away from the Medusa, but Execration, you're coming back in with a smoke.
Yeah, Bob, he's happy to see Young God in his jungle, so it goes right in for the lasso Firefly, and Young God is still alive. Sorrel will be there, but they have the feed script. There is no escape for that Luna as Febby. He'll be the second to drop surely as Bob. He'll get the job done. No problem for the side of Execration, and you got the tier 1 top tower, but you still have the mid tier 1 to try and deal with this TNC. So, I mean, Young God, he was quite deep in that dire jungle considering where the objectives are.
Yeah, just getting a bit too greedy, and you have to appreciate Execration already having that defensive obs ward to watch their top jungle anyway. They know if there are any moves in. TNC has the same ward in that area as well, but more important there, although Carlo.
Oh, nice. Yeah. The Tumblr story, John. Of course you can jump over these, 20-meter walls of the arena. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. They managed to bait out big spell, hold on to their mid-tier 1 as well. And that means that TNC doesn't have the follow-through to kind of commit for that objective yet. They will go for a smoke play again. You do have the Yules up in Yoa, so you can set up with that Aether Remnant now and on target.
Bob, he's the target. TNC, the tips out, boys. Tips ready. Yoa, he's going to get the Aether Remnant down. They've just got to get the job done. They're going to finish off Bob. Baby's going to be there. They'll have the damage. Yoa, he's going to feel very good about that one. Now level 10 on the Void Spirit. And in the meantime, of course, you see Zhao Yu pushing down that tier mid tower. So far, so good for TNC. They're doing a great job.
They're slowly but surely playing a lot better than game 1. They're much more coordinated in these ganks. They're taking a much more aggressive approach as well to help Yoa bounce back in. I do still worry about allowing the Medusa to farm up like this in the bot jungle. I mean, you are getting the same farm out for Young God, but he sacrificed a little bit more by joining these fights early, dying twice in comparison to Ardusa only dying once. And Nando's going to have the Manta style up sooner rather than later. It's already a bit of trouble kind of pinning out any hero without, on the supports because you're relying mainly on Zhao Yu and Yoa. But once you have that Manta for dodge on Nando, it's going to be even harder to pin him down. You're really relying on a very strong Yule's Remnant coming in from Yoa, as the spear is fairly dodgeable if it's not a surprise from Zhao Yu, and it won't be until the blink is up. So I think Nando is going to be in a good position to still build up. We haven't seen Execration use Ravage just yet as well, Mike. Kimizu's been so patient for that spell. So there's still counterplay from Execration we haven't seen come out yet.
Very true. Very good point. I mean, almost 14 minutes in, just no ulti popped yet by Kimizu. Just very patient. I suppose with the Medusa draft, you are kind of playing the slow game anyway, as Execration. But speaking of the devil, Kimizu, Media Hammer's going to take way too long with the Yule Scepter. Zhao Yu just kind of has to cancel that one off. Because they weren't confident with the spear setup instead. Even if you haven't used this Ravage quite yet, like Kimizu, he's going to work towards a blink. You get to the point where you have an Aghanim Scepter up, so you have that AoE gush. And that's when things can get very frustrating to try and deal with. Like that gush is very annoying with the Ags. And when you kind of consider the fact that that's going to be in conjunction with the Medusa, who has split shot, with all that minus armor up, you're amping so much damage. They're speaking of the Medusa, so they are going to smoke up this 5 and run right towards Nando. Scan out in the triangle, however. Maybe they'll head up top instead. Nando, he might run right into them. He does have Stone Gaze. Instead though, they're going to try and jump the backside, but they've got the Medusa with the arena down and the Meteor Hammer. They've lost Yoe in the high ground, and now the Ravage comes out. Kamizu's got 3 targets. They thought they were in the triangle. Yoe, he kind of jumped the gun. Nando, he was the one to break the smoke, and well, they just completely wiped TNC.
Blessings
And
upon
they don't have enough damage for that Arena's Meteor Hammer combo to burn down Nando anymore. He's got the level 3 mana shield, he's got some stats, the Dragon Lance up and running. He is not a hero, he bursts down in a snap, and that's a massive win for Execration. The patience from Kimizu to finally see that Ravage opportunity does pay off. That is, he's actually going to rush the Axe now. He's not even going for the Blink anymore. Just wants to gush up and running. Young God will be around to defend. So one hero, respawns are short, so TNC can bring the numbers up, and they know there's no Ravage. So if they want to try to counterfight, it could be a big opportunity for them, but I don't think they're really set up for it. They just have to play it a little bit safer, keep buying time for Young God, because the Luna is approaching maybe some earlier item spike than the Dusa. And the Luna does have bigger damage output early on.
Lane, they got Yoe, or rather Carlo, is going to actual step back towards his team. It's play hard, he'll keep going. Vincenzo doesn't have the Nightmare, so it's kind of hard to lock play hard down long enough. They are still pushing forward. Nando, he has Stone Gaze in 5. Instead, they're going to jump in again onto that Rubik, and they commit everything to make sure Carlo does drop. It just seems a little bit desperate from TNC, but again, I think you've got to find every kill you can get right now, and Young God is still farming up, so I suppose it is just fine.
You'll take it. It's space for Young God. It's a kill coming out to feed into the rest of your cores.
Stupid.
And you're
Brave,
pushing Execration away from the triangle. So you're cutting off the farming spots here for Nando. He's forced to go up top. There are no wards to watch that anymore, so they can't really punish that just yet. Execration does have this defensive wards to watch here as well. And speaking of that vision game, I think TNC is kind of lacking in wards right now, Mike. They've got a whole bunch of sentries, not many obs. Whereas look at Execration. They've got forward wards on the bot jungle, watching one ramp down south, watching the entrance near the tier 1, and watching their own jungle. So they have a lot of areas to get info from, areas to play around if they want to go for a smoke surprise once Ravage is back up. And they can just kind of protect themselves quite well. They know where to work the map. They know where TNC's not, and that gives them enough to protect Nando continuously in this game. Nando, he's got that Manta style up, Mike. He's going into the Ags. And as you mentioned, in conjunction with Tide Ags, the Stone Form coming up, amping up physical damage with the minus armor on top, Nando is going to rip them to shreds if they're not careful.
Oh, absolutely. We go again. Unpause is there. Well, the internet connection issues are just going to keep going, but do their best to kind of play through it. So, not too much of a slow game, but we haven't seen the biggest team fights yet. I mean, Nando, again, playing Medusa, it's going to take a bit of time for him to feel ready. Because once he has the Ags up is around the time you want to start moving as a unit of 5. They do smoke up, though. We bobbed Carlo and Vincenzo to move. Nando, he'll keep the farm up, I think, and just keep going for the Aghanim Scepter. They'll rotate into that Radiant Triangle now, and they will find Young God eventually if they keep going. No vision for the Luna, but he does back off just in the nick of time.
Radiant structures are
Then
fortified.
into the mid lane where Bob, he spotted out Xiao Yu, but is not going to be able to deal with the Tumbler's Toy either. And no blink dagger on Bob, so it's kind of hard for him to close the gap.
Has fallen.
But I suppose in the meantime, they still got that mid-tier for free. So they get the objective they wanted anyway.
Yeah.
Yoes. Make it jump in. On the Nando. Vincenzo's there though with the Nightmare. And now the Ravage. Kimizu, he lands on 4 targets again. Can they turn it? Eclipse is out. Young God, he's going to try. But the Medusa is just not falling. Nando, he'll get the Stone Gaze off. Play hard. He'll move into the backside. Oh, a Fiend's Grip wasn't an illusion. That's a bit of a misplay there from Vincenzo, but it just doesn't matter. And they still get away with a Weaver kill. No problem.
I'm surprised TNC still forced that. After losing the objective, there's a good ward from Execration watching behind that tier 1 again. So they had the info to play with. They were confident with Nando standing forward because they were still around the area to protect. And sure, they threw a lot of spells out. They only catch a Weaver. Not the biggest kill for Execration. Key thing is, you're also cutting off TNC from trying to bounce back in. And this is the only catch-up mechanic you really have for Yoa. He needs to keep finding these kills, needs to keep running down. He might find Bob if he overextends here.
Yoa gets the Yules. Oh, 8 to rep. That's a very, very awkward angle to go for. Maybe he assumed that the camp was already taken, but I think he had to go south to north for that one.
Yeah. Misses the shot. Again, just mentioned Yoa needs pickoffs to really build up. He does have the travels up in the Void Spirit, so you can be really active on the map at any point. But you're starting to hit those spikes in Execration. Ags up for Kimizu. More stats. AoE Gush in play. Minus armor to enable the Dusa. And it's going to be hard to just burst down Kimizu at any point at all. As Ags gives with a bit of defiance, he is just not here. You can really melt on the side of TNC. They're eyeing Roshan, they're planting wards. There is vision here from Execration, so they know something's up. They will still try to maybe force a response out. You know, we're holding that ramp, but Execration, Ravage, only 40 seconds away. That might be enough time to regroup and fight there.
I mean, more importantly, you've got the Stone Gaze up on Nando, and I think that's going to make life just as hard as the Ravage would. Bob, Lasso is available. He's got his BKB up. Not opting for the blink eventually. He'll go for the Octarine Core instead. That'll give him the cast range anyway. Scan out on the Roshan pit from Execration. He's going to show somebody's in there, but it's just play hard around the pit. In the end, TNC, they're not 100% confident to try and go for this Roshan play in. Well, now with the Ravage up, you're definitely not going to go. I mean, there's just no chance for TNC to take it down. The best off just trying to buy Young God a bit more time to just escalate and farm a bit more. He's working on towards that Dragonlance, so a bit of range, bit of stats. Never a bad thing for the Luna. But Execration, I mean, they might eventually just decide to start the Roshan themselves. I mean, not really too much to stop them.
They could be a bit patient. Oh, well, the Axe is already flying out for Nando, so yeah, they're just gonna go for it. Ags on Dusa, Ags on Tyke. It's gonna be a scary fight.
Young God. Man's up BKB immediately, but look at Bob. He's going right after that target. B-Strip is going to get cancelled, but what does it matter? They got the lasso. Vincenzo, he might die, but Young God, he's out of position. Ravage is there. It's only on one, but it's just perfect. Because they want the Luna anyway. They don't care about the rest of the team. Febby will drop to boot, and Execration again, just doing what they need to win out these team fights. You wonder, do you go for Roshan now?
Could. There's still some highly mobile heroes on TNC that could try to disrupt. They don't have Ravage or the Stone Gaze anymore, but they'll go for the objective play. Cut off the TP points of TNC, open up the map even more, and Nando is just so big. Like, again, he's very hard to burst. The damage on TNC is just not enough to pin any of these heroes down and work them down, at least any of the cores. They could still try to maybe burst down to softer supports, but beyond that, even Bob's going to be very hard with that BKB running on him.
You know, he has smoked up here with play hard. Nobody's really alone for them to go. Oh, they could find the Medusa. Nando is by himself right now, and he's going to be right under vision. Be a big moment here for TNC if they can get him. They will with the spear up, but no, it doesn't stop. Ain't the Remnant though into the Meteor Hammer, but they have to leave. There's too much time to react. Now with the axe up, they'll petrify up the Mars. Xiao Yu, he's going to go for the TP play, and it looks like he will make it out. But towards the south, there might be another team fight breaking out as they at least find Carlo.
The great lineage comes.
The support kill is going to be there for Yoe. That's about all they're going to get, though.
Yeah.
Maybe they could start Roshan.
They could try. You do have the Stone Gaze back up on Nando, so they do manage to go in, scout this out, and force the fight. It's still a bit of a risky proposition for TNC. No Ravage, so it's a little bit better. The Rogue does fall fairly quick with a Swarm up and the right-click damage of Young God, so the response to the Execration has been quick.
Mizu, he's going to move in. Arena, though, way off the mark. It may not matter. They've still got plenty of damaging to Mizu. He does not have the Ravage, so he will drop straight off the bat. No buyback available. Carlo will respawn in time to try and fight out this Roshan. But it looks like they're just going to keep knocking them out with flame breaks. Just kind of poke and prod from a mile away is... Well, TNC, they don't actually have enough damage to finish off Roshan quickly. So even with those 2 kills, they just cannot get it done, but they will try to smoke. So 25 seconds without their tide. Execration, though, they're holding that high ground. They have the stone gates, but they're going to find Vincent. So, Aether Remnant will be there into the spear setup. That'll be at least one gone. Nando, though, and Carlo, they're going to find a target in the form of Xiao Yu. Bob has the lasso, but doesn't even need it. We'll be able to pick off the Mars. And now might have a look around for another. They will find Febby. The Tombstone, they'll take care of that instead. The Execration, they just don't want to see the Roshan go down the way of TNC. As long as Roshan's not happening, they're happy.
As long as they stall it out, you are in a pretty good position here for Execration. They do have a Ravage ready on Kimizu now as well. So if TNC did try to force it again, they're going to have to deal with that big team fight control from Kimizu. And side of Execration just going to keep watch. They know someone's going to poke and prod here. They know TNC wants that objective bad. Have to be careful forcing that fight out here, TNC. Again, Ravage up, Stone Gaze up. It's going to be a hard one to counteract.
I mean, it seems impossible right now. At least Xiao Yu does respawn up in time to try and contest this Roshan, and he does have Arena once again. Roshan is still going, though. Execration, they are not bluffing. They are committed. See how TNC try to initiate this fight, but it might just be a matter of trying to steal the Aegis rather than going through the fight. But Yoe, he's off the mark with the Aether Remnant, and he's quite low on mana right now. Very awkward to try and form it now. Bevy, he's going to be able to walk away from this Batrider. Play hard, he'll Sakuchi, but Bob, he wants the big target. Young God, he'll BKB up, but they've got the lasso. Drag him right back in. Still the Roshan is still going down. Nando, he'll get the Stone Gaze. Yoe, he's got the Aegis. He does snatch it away from the grasp of Execration. But can they win the team fight? Kimizu, he'll walk out of there. Ravage is already down, but Young God, he does end up dying. It's up to the Void Spirit. Bob, he is about to drop and does finally end up going down as they will continue the fight. Xiao Yu now, he's the one on the run. The Mars should be okay as Nando gives up and goes right back in after the Void Spirit. Instead, Yoet can step away once. Carlo is there on the chase. They won't get him yet though. Play hard. High-fiving in the middle of all this. And that'll be it. They do at least deny the Aegis away from Execration.
Just target one person,
That's actually really well timed from Yoe. He got the Aegis and he got the kill. So they get the gold from the Roshan, they get the second life as well. That's going to slow down Execration just a tad. I don't think it's too massive of a loss for Execration as they still managed to kill off Young God. They saved their big core in the Medusa. They lose Bob, but they already managed to use his control anyway to secure that Luna kill. Did his job in the middle of that team fight. Execration still hold with a 3k lead, but we're seeing, openings here for TNC that they're using well. And Yoe went off to a really slow start, but he's got the Ags up. He's a lot more secure now in jumping in, getting good silence off. There's no big defensive items yet on Nando outside of the Banta. So if they see the illusions running around, they've got a silence window where they can jump in, isolate Nando, try to burst him down, get the follow-up damage and stuns through with Xiao Yu, and handle the Medusa from there. Execration still waiting for a couple of items themselves. Blink for Kimizu's almost done. So your Tide can jump in, get the Ravages off in a better angle now, in a better position. True. And Nando's almost done with his Scotty as well. So more stats for the Medusa to play with. The healing reduction slows on hand. On top of that with the Gush and Mystic Snake Spam. Really hard to chase down the Medusa even if you have that silence window from Yoe.
TNC not out of this game too yet. 2k behind, but they've kept that gap very, very close between themselves and Execration. Bob, he was showing top lane. They are going to start moving up. See if they can catch up that Batrider. It's going to make it hard enough by just hiding in that tree line by the T2. TNC, they've got the Aegis on Yoe. They might feel like they need to make some form of a play, go after some objective with this Aegis up. Well, they've got to do something. Nando's just freely taking this T2 bottom tower.
Dire's top tower is under
That's going to lead right to that Radiant outpost. Make matters worse, John. Double damage spawns down at bot lane, so Execration going to have first dibs on that.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
There goes your tier 2. No defense.
No defense and no real push coming out from TNC. So they're not really using the map as effectively as you'd expect them to. Execration managed to make great use of that. They will spot that BD with a smoke up as well. They can look for the wraparound defense play from the rear. Catch TNC off guard, and with Nando's damage output, this is not really a very pretty fight for TNC if they don't manage to get a sniff of this.
Certainly will not be, but they have not seen it. The awkward scenario here. Stepping Carlo, he's got the lure into the Ravage Kamizu. It's just perfect. It's just perfect from Execration to Zhao Yu. He's gonna try with the arena just to be able to defensively get himself out. Gush is there from Kamizu though, slowing him down, and the Astral Steps are out from Carlo. Just a great initiation from the Rubik. Not really much Young God can do about it, just too little time to react, even with the BKB up. And it might just be another tier 2 tower here for Execration.
Radiant's top tower
Nothing much to really stop them. Like maybe right now Yoa could just look to shove out a lane, force a response out down the line. But Execration a really good spot to just keep playing. They didn't have to expend Stone Gaze as well, so even if Ravage is gone, they've still got that teamfight spell. Yoa, I mean, there's not much Void Spirit and Undying can do together, so they just don't have to wait for the respawns. Mid 2 is the target for Nando. He's chipping away slowly but surely onto the objective. Yoa can only kind of poke and prod, but that tower's pretty much gone.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
They'll try to deny it, but Yoa won't be able to even get that. Carlo takes the Aether Remnant away from him, apparently. Yeah, I feel like he did probably want those Astral Step charges, but not going to be able to steal that again. Not for now, at least. So state of the game at the moment, Jonathan. I mean, they're AK behind on TNC. They're going to go for a big smoke up. Thing is, if they lose a big team fight again, you're probably looking at high ground because you don't have many buybacks right now on TNC. Aegis does expire on Yoa to make matters worse. They do see Bob though. No, in fact, never mind. They saw Nando, but he's such a tanky target. Petrify is there onto the Void Spirit. Yoa, he's gonna dissimulate, and he's gone. Yeah, it happens that fast. Bob is trying to find a bit more. Meteor Hammer is not gonna work out. He has the lasso. He'll grab Xiao Yu. That'll be a second. No buyback on either target.
Stupid. Right.
In fact, make it the third, John. They've got Bebby now.
Man, Carlo, what the Aether Remnant? That's what secured him the kill on you. Secures him the kill on Febby as well. Carlo Rubik, man, BDZ Rubik. He just. It used to be that this was an instant ban against Execration every time. Right? Like he just performs every single time, and he's just set up in this game. High ground opens up. You called it out, Mike. If they lost that smoke, the siege would happen in Execration. There's just nothing stopping them. They've got Stone Gaze, they've got Ravage ready, they've still got the grip as well to deal with the BKBs. Vincenzo's standing way far back. The good news here for TNC is that they can't get mega creeped as the top tier 2 still stands, so it's still protected on that set of racks, but the bot is exposed. And if Execration are feeling confident, they could just go in, but they'll respect. They'll back off just a bit, need to look for a wraparound, get the wave shoved back in before doing anything else, giving TNC some time to regroup. Their options are growing limited though, Mike. Like, you are getting decent farm on Young God still. He is trying to get his Satanic up, still a ways off. You really need some sustain on the Luna, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. At the least they've got the Ags on play hard. So let's see if those time-lapse saves will be enough to kind of give them an opportunity to fight back in these engagements.
Young God setting up here with his team, TNC. They want to try and force another fight. They are going to be fighting into that Ravage and Stone Gaze. So not easy as Kamizu. He jumped in. Young God, he got the BKB off in time, but they found out the Void Spirit again with the Beans Rip. Yo is gone. The best they got is Carlo, and now they've got the Luna. Nando, he'll get stunned up in the arena. Maybe they can slow him down, but Young God is still being chased here by Bob. In fact, never mind the Luna. Nando, he'll just fight Xiao Yu instead. Young God, he'll turn back on a Kamizu with the lasso back up for that Bat Rider. They are cleaning up. They are still trying to kill Nando, but there is no killing him. He's unkillable right now as we get an ultra kill out for Bob. Full teamwork.
Just like that, and Execration, you know, maybe not the best looking start to a fight, it still works out. The Ravage wasn't massive. There was a moment where Young God turned around while he was on the run, got frozen to give more damage out to Nanda to deal onto the Luna. And all those small sort of mistakes and little adds up. We didn't actually see a time lapse coming through from the Luna. I don't think so. The Ags pick up, which kind of takes away his buyback, also doesn't get any saves off. And that's probably going to be Mega Creeps. They'll take top, they can swing down to bot, and they can start setting up the tier 4s. They don't have their team fight spells. I don't think they mind too much. TNC does have short respawns here, Mike. So they can try the mountain defense, but it's just looking tough with his 20k lead on Execration now.
Well, Execration, there are no rush. Again, we saw this game one. They are not going to risk anything for nothing. They still respect TNC. They'll back off and wait out some more items, maybe even Roshan.
Just target one person.
I mean, you've got a Refresher Orb coming out on Kamizu. That's going to make life basically impossible for TNC. And if you get the Aegis up on Execration, I mean, the game might just be as good as done.
Pretty much. Like, I don't see them ripping through 2 lives of Nando. I don't see them surviving the double Ravage. You did see the BKB saves. You still have to worry because the BKB just means Vincenzo knows who he's gonna grip. If he sees some BKB, just instant grip. Your spell immunity is just for naught. So Execration still have a lot of ways of playing up against that, even if the initial double Ravage doesn't. And they will smoke up. They're gonna look for the closer play here, Mike.
They've only got 1 Ravage right now with the refresh. They've got to wait 7 seconds for Kamizu to have the first one up. Is play hard. They get scouted, but no, they don't want him. They want Youngon. But oh, they got the right one to the ball. He was patient to figure out which one it was, but the time lapse is there. Stonegate's out. Nando, he just does not give a crap at all. As the beat trip is out now. They've caught Yoair. Get into the global Ravage out from Kamizu, locking them all down. And they just melt. It might be time to call TNC. This is not your game. That's it, GG. It's too much. Unfortunately, John, TNC are yet to pick up their first game victory. Execration, though, will be able to snag a 2-0 victory here against TNC. They'll climb themselves up the ladder a little bit.
Looks like Execration learned from the last time they played up against TNC. You know, they kind of lost out. You can see how happy they are. Very cheerful lads. And Carlo there, and King on the Rubik, and Kimizu. Our shy little boy from Mindanao kind of popping up. A very nice game.